Part of writing a good story is knowing a little bit more about your characters. Now, although some people can just write by the seat of their pants, some of us find it much easier to plan out the novel, including the characters. So I'm Michael with WriterSanctuary, and today I'm going to show you how to set up characters in the Reedsy Planning Board. Now, if you don't know, Reedsy is a free writing app that you can use to write your novels. It exports the books fairly well, but it is still a free tool to use, and it has everything I've ever needed. And so far, I have written a couple of books off of Reedsy's writing app. So let's get started with setting up our characters. As you can see, I am on the planning board of my newest book. Now from here, we're going to set up a whole new folder specifically for our characters. That way we can keep them all together. Down on the top left, we have the button here for add, or we can click on the one on the right of the planning board to add a folder. So it doesn't matter which one you use. And I'm going to create a folder. And this folder is going to be called characters. And then because I'm a visual individual, I am going to find a good emoji or an image, I guess, for the folder so that I know what it is. I'm going to use that one. Hit save. Now we've got a new folder. Now the protagonist of this particular book has already been laid out, and I'm going to drag and drop him into this folder. So that way, if I minimize it, it keeps it clean. So we are going to create a new one. So we click into our folder here for characters, and we're going to hit add. And from here, I'm going to name my character. And this particular character is going to be named Charlie Wright. And I can put a short description. He's going to be Jack's assistant, because he is. So here we have options to add attributes. Now, as you can see with the protagonist of this newest book, which I'm going to change his name here to, Jack Spencer, because that's who it is. I created this before I came up with a name, so I have placeholders, essentially. But now we have the name, age, height, weight, build. I'm going to use a similar layout for the new one. So what I'm going to do is add attribute. It's on text already. So I'm going to put name, hit enter, and then we're going to type in his name. I guess you really don't need to because it's already at the top. But that way, if you want to change the top of it to something else, like you want to keep it protagonist or antagonist or side character, or whatever you want to use as the label, that way you can look at your screen on the left on the planning board and know who is who. So it is completely up to you. I'm going to go ahead and keep it as name. That way everything I do is uniform and you never know what you're going to change later on. So we're going to add another attribute. We're going to add another text. And we're going to do this one as age. And with Charlie, I want Charlie to be quite a bit younger. So I'm going to say he's going to be 20. As you can see, you can add pretty much any text attribute that you want for your character. That way you can kind of flesh him out and get an idea of what he looks like. If you're not quite sure what you want your character to look like, I suggest if you were going to make a movie of this book, who do you want to play this particular part? Then you can look at actors and try to base some of your attributes on the actor you would like to see play that part. This just helps you get a more visual representation of the character that you try and write about. Like me personally, I envision pretty much everybody in my book of what actor I would like to play that role if it went to Netflix. Does this mean that I'm planning on submitting my book to Netflix? Absolutely not. But it is kind of fun to think about what actor would play what part. Plus, it gives me something to go on when I flesh out a character. The cool thing is that you don't have to just base your attributes on the physical appearance of your character. You can also use it to highlight their mannerisms. Maybe if I spelled mannerisms right. There we go. And I'm missing an N. Wow, I butchered that one. That's what happens when you type too fast. So like with my protagonist here, I put headstrong, solitary, honorable, and then some of the other mannerisms that are going to be quite apparent in the book. And then I also put down his wants and needs, and I started toying around with the primary arc of the story. You can do something similar by adding whatever text you want. So like, what is Charlie's wants and needs? Even though he's not the main character, he does play quite a big role in this book. I also want him to be somewhat shy. The nice thing is that you can always come back to this at any point and add more attributes, take things away, edit. So as your story progresses, your character is probably going to progress as well. For example, what if later on in the book, Jack winds up getting a scar across his cheek from a fight? I would add that into his character bio so that I would remember there's a scar there. Because my memory is not as good as it used to be. I forget a lot, which is why I like the planning board, because then I can pin the plot to the side of the manuscript while I write. Otherwise, I want to forget a lot of stuff. So what if you have a picture of the character that you want for your book? Well, for Charlie, what if I said I wanted to use an image that I had of him that I downloaded off the internet somewhere? You just click on the image box, find the image on your computer that you want to use, and just open the image up. Now, once the image is added to the character sheet, you can see on the left here of the planning board that it replaces the icon with the image of the guy that you want, or woman, or anybody that you want for that character. So yes, Dick Clark isn't exactly 20 years old, but it was a picture that I had on my computer. That's a long story by itself. And since we decided we don't want this picture for Charlie, we're going to go ahead and remove image. And it's gone. And it changes it on the left. A few other things that you might want to consider when you're doing your characters with the attributes. The attribute button, you can also change things to a checkbox, a link, date, relationship. I haven't really figured out the purpose of a number and relationship yet, but I do use checkboxes quite a bit for setting up, like say if I'm doing marketing for a specific book, I can do a checkbox, and then I'm going to label it. Add to blog. That way, when I start developing a longer list of things I want to do for marketing the book, I have a checklist. I can go off and say, oh, okay, I added it to blog. It's done. Of course, this is a character sheet. You don't really need that, so we're just going to delete the attribute. And then you can add links. I use links quite a bit, mostly to reference research materials. Since I've never been to Atlantic City, I did have a page here that I open. I just click this guy on the right and it opens the link in a new tab. So those are kind of handy. And if you're like me and you're basing this off of historical references, this list is going to get pretty long. Of course, that also depends on how much research you decide to put into your book. It's just that easy. You can add all kinds of different stats. You don't have to flesh out every single minute detail of your character. I normally focus on things that are more relevant to the book and trying to give a visual representation so that somebody can actually see what I see. Am I going to put in his shoe size? No. Do I care what his favorite drink at Starbucks is? No. But there are a few mannerisms and behaviors that are going to be featured in the book and that also give him a little bit more of a human quality. Well, there you have it. That's how easy it is to set up a character in your Reedsy writing app. You can keep everything organized in folders and give everything names. I mean, there's quite a bit of flexibility to what you can do with it. So what kind of attributes would you add to your characters? Of course, as the story progresses, I'll probably add more just to highlight certain features of each person. That is, unless I kill them early on, which I have a habit of doing. But anywho, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. For more videos about self-publishing, freelance writing, blogging, or anything else I cover, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. I think that's going to do it for me today, and I'll see you next time.